Welcome to Creative Stamping with Marg. Thanks for joining me. This is the instruction video for Countdown to Christmas card kit number 3. So you've picked up your kit from me already, so you would have 4 envelopes. I'm going to start with, the first card is going to be this one with the green plaid paper in it and the gold accent pieces. So let's get started. You should have all of these pieces in your kit. Your label will be plain white, not stamped on unless you came to stamp with me. You should have a gold oval scalloped. You should have an embossed white oval, 2 trees, and they have little stars on the top. A large piece of plaid DSP, a piece with pine boughs on it, a gold ribbon. There's a bigger gold star that I'll show you what we'll do with after. Our card is shaded spruce, and it's going to be opening this way. There's a white piece of paper in the inside with a strip of the Christmas boughs to put across the bottom. So we'll set that aside, and we'll work on putting these pieces together. What you have to decide is where you're going to want this piece of DSP, and because we're going to glue these 2 pieces together. So what I sort of have envisioned for this card, it looking something like this. I'll just kind of do a dry fit here. This piece of ribbon is going to go across this, and I thought this could go here, and I would like my greeting either at the top or at the bottom. So that's what you need to decide if you're using this white piece, because it might determine where you put your piece of DSP. And then the trees are going to be put on top of this. And our star over here somewhere. So you can decide where you think you'd like to put it. It's always good to sort of do a dry run and just see before you start attaching things together. So I think I like my DSP kind of, I guess, closer to the bottom, leaving room for my greeting at the top. So I'm going to take it all off now. And what I want to do is attach this piece of paper to the plaid. And I'm going to be using my liquid Tombow glue. You can use your seal or glue runner. That'll work also. And it's just attached straight to your larger piece of DSP. And the nice thing about the plaid paper is you can use the lines in the plaid to make sure it's nice and straight. That looks good. Okay, give that a second to dry. I'm going to put my gold ribbon across and around behind, and I just attach it with Scotch tape. So what I do is I put the Scotch tape on the ribbon like that, and decide where I want my ribbon. I think I want it in the middle of the paper, and so I'm just going to flip this around to the back like that, and it's just going to stick down with your tape. And pull it tight, and another piece of tape here on the other end, and just wrap it around, and then you can make sure it sticks down really good, and that's an easy way to put your tape on. So it's going to look like that, and then I'm going to need to attach the white embossed piece to the gold. So what I'm going to do here is, there's a little bit of an indent, I hope you can see it, in the gold piece that I cut out. There's a little ledge. So I'm just carefully, and you need to be careful, because if you get this liquid glue where you don't want it, it does not rub off of the foil papers. So I'm using my sheet here so that it should be all right. And this just is going to sit, because the gold is just like a frame. So it's just going to sit there like that. You can see what I mean by the glue sticking to the foil. That's why I like this silicone mat, because if I get glue on it, like I did there, it just rubs off after, so that's good. So you might want to let that sit for just a second. what we're going to do is figure out how you want your trees to look. And I have stuck the 2 stars on the trees for you already because they're quite small, and I thought they might get lost. So again, you can do a bit of a dry fit and decide how you would like that to look on your card. You know, the trees like that, or the trees like that. I think that looks good. And I'm going to just attach the trees right down because we're going to lift this with dimensionals. I think first, though, that I will attach this to the front of the card. I think that might be a smart thing to do right now. So all I'm going to do is run my liquid glue again all the way around. You can use your glue runner and just attach this piece right to the front of the card, trying to get the borders nice and even, like that. Perfect. And then I think I've decided I want my one tree down like that and the other one up a bit, so I will attach one tree, making sure I'm only putting glue where it's going to be touching the white embossed piece. You don't want glue anywhere else. Like that. And like this. So just some glue on the top part of the tree, just so that it will. I think that looks good. And then I'm going to put some embellishments on, some dimensionals on this. And because there's ribbon and the ribbon's running through the center, I always put my dimensionals not where the ribbon is. So you'll want the dimensionals. I'm going to use 4. I'm going to put them kind of top and bottom, if you see that. And get your dimensionals off. This is all I do to make it easier to grab a hold of them. If you just stick your fingernail in the middle, it sort of makes them pop up a bit. That's easier for me to get off. Oh, that's upside down, doesn't matter. Okay, now we've got they're ready to go. And I would like to have it somewhat even, I think. There we go, that looks good. And then if you came and stamped a greeting with me, it would be on this white piece. And so I've already done mine, and it's here. If you didn't stamp a greeting, then you're probably not going to use this at all, and that's fine. I think the card looks lovely without it. Again, you could have adjusted where you put this piece of paper if you wanted it up or down. You could have adjusted where you wanted this gold piece to be. But I'm going to attach mine just right down to my paper on the front. And again, using the lines of the plaid paper, so helpful. And then I'm going to put this star on just to give it a little bit of a little extra bling on it. You could use the star anywhere you like. I'm just going to put mine right there on my, sort of half on my greeting and half off. And that's the front of that card. To do the inside, of course, I've given you a white piece, and it's going to go this direction, not this direction, and a piece with the boughs on it, pine boughs. So I'm just going to use my glue runner and run a little bit of glue on this strip of DSP. And I like using the grid paper for this, trying to get everything nice and straight. So I will do it like that. And by using the grid paper, the lines underneath, hopefully, I can get this straight on here. And if it's hanging off the edges a little bit, like mine is right here, I just take my snips to the back side and just cut that little extra piece off. And if there's a little piece sticking out here, same, like that. Then we're going to just attach this to the inside of the card. Again, you can use your glue runner or liquid glue. A little bit goes a long way with this liquid glue. Don't need very much to make things stick down. And then again, you just want to try to get your borders even. In it goes like that. And that's our first card. I think that's really pretty. So that's the card that I was calling the tree card. So we'll put that to the side and we'll revisit them at the end. Now, the card that is the same layout as this card, just going the other direction, is the one I'm going to call the deer card. Let's get rid of my garbage here. And it goes together exactly the same way. Just has a little bit of different things with it, but it does go together exactly the same way. So this time you have a real red card base, you have the white piece in the inside, and you've got a strip of designer series paper. You can use either side to put it together. This piece of designer series paper that has the birch trees on it. So again, you would attach, there's your birch trees. Here's a bedazzling piece of paper that I think is so pretty. And this one is going to have red ribbon going across it. So it would be across like this. It has a real red circle and a piece of designer series paper that has snowflakes on it. You've got 2 deer for this one instead of trees. And they can go, well, any way you like. There is a label included for a greeting, and if you stamped with me, you'd have that, or you're stamping yourself, you'd have this. So it can go at the top. Now I might want to move this down a little bit and have this at the top again. You could have this higher up, and you could have this at the bottom. It's entirely up to you. Maybe we'll put it at the bottom just for something different. So it goes together exactly the same way, just has a few different pieces with it. And this one has some stars on it also that you can use to embellish, and they can just be glued on like that. That goes on the front of your red, real red card base, like that. And that's that card. So it's put together exactly the same way, just the orientation is different. This card opens this way, and this card opens this way. All right, so those 2 are done. Okay, put that to the side. Next card we're going to put together, we'll do this plaid one. Now this one is cut a little different. This is the thick basic white cardstock. So you don't need another layer of white inside because it's nice and thick paper. It has a fancy edge on it, so it's going to open this way. So I've given you a strip of DSP, which is going to go on the inside like this, so that when the card is closed, you will see this little strip of plaid paper. This is kind of not traditional Christmas colors, but I really liked the way it looked with the copper accents that we have. So we have 3 of the pretty peacock rectangles, and they're going to go on the front like this. Again, I'm going to do kind of a dry run with it just to show you what it's going to look like, and then we'll put it together. So you're going to have these like that, and then you're going to decide which pieces you want to put where of the plaid paper. I'm going to do mine like this and have this piece in the middle, and it corresponds with that. Again, you've got a Cajun craze rectangle, and you'll have a piece for your greeting. So if you did stamping, or you are going to do stamping, it's going to go on there like that. I've already done mine. Now this can be placed anywhere you like on your card. It can be across here, it can be across the bottom, straight across the middle, whatever you like. And then you've got a piece of twine, which I've already tied onto my bells. I've tied my 2 bells together with the Cajun craze twine, and I thought I might just put my bells like that. So the card looks basically like that when it's put together. So I like the way all that looks. Let's get started actually putting it together. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to glue this piece of designer series paper into the card. Now this one is going to go right to the edge of the white so that when you close the card you see it. So it will look like this. So it goes right along the edge of the white, like that. And you're not seeing any white at the bottom. Again, it looks like mine's a little long on the one side, so I'm going to trim it off like that. All right, so that part of it is done. Now, I think what I'm going to do is, I usually start with my outside pieces and then put the middle piece in. I just want to make sure, kind of give myself an idea how much white I need showing on the edges so that this will fit in the middle. So I'm thinking I could have, maybe like that. So I'm going to start with this one. And again, I'm just going to put it down like this. And I'm thinking that I had it laid out that I could have about that much to the edge of it, like that. And then I'm going to do the other side exactly the same with the same edge, and then that'll allow me for putting the middle one in evenly. Okay. And the thing is, you would like it to look even at the top, so they're not, maybe needs to go up a little bit more, like that. Okay, and then this one in the middle. So it's going to look like that. And then you have even spaces in the middle. That looks great. Okay. This layout can be used, you'll see the second card with the silver paper, it looks totally different in different papers. So it's a nice layout because you can utilize it. You could also utilize it this way. It could be this way also. Just would change up your greeting a little bit. If you wanted to do that, you could. Now, I've decided that I want the two pretty peacock papers on the outside and have this one in the middle. But you can decide whatever you'd like to do. And you'll turn them over and you'll see there's plaid on the other side, but unfortunately it's not going to coordinate, so it's not a choice as far as if you wanted to turn it over and use the other side. It doesn't really coordinate with the papers that I chose. So you're stuck with my choices. So you're just gluing these all on. Again, a little bit of a border around them and trying to make them even so that, good. That looks good. There. All right, I'm going to glue my greeting down. Mine just says Merry Christmas on it, and it's going to just go flat onto this piece because we are going to lift this piece up with dimensionals. And again, you want to center it on your Cajun Craze piece, like that. And I'm going to use dimensionals to pop it up. I'll use 3. Pull off the backings. That. And again, I would like my my bells to be, they're going to go to the edge here like that. So I think I'll have this a little higher up. And you can just drop it down and decide. I don't want to get my head in the camera here, but I want to make sure this is straight. Decide if that looks good, and then you can press down your, okay. And then for this, I think what I'd like to do is I would like my 2 bells to be kind of stuck together, but I'm thinking maybe what I'll do is I'll just put a dimensional on the back of each one, and then when I put them down, they'll stay in place. And then they'll be the same level as the greeting. and then they won't be above it or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to place them, I think, like that. You can decide what you'd like to do with them, of course. Make it your own. And sorry, I had my twine already tied on here. I've given you a piece of twine in your kit, and I've actually tied them together with the bow. So you'll have to do that. And then I think, and you can trim your bow off if you think it's too big. I think that looks good. And I kind of like the bow the way it is. I want it tipped that way. There. So that's our card. That went together really easily. And I think that's really effective. I love those bells on there. And I liked the copper bells with the Cajun Craze paper. And then there's your inside. That's a beautiful card. All right, so the other card that's exactly the same layout, just different papers, is the one with the silver. So it looks like this. So you would have the gray and the silver paper, and this time we've got silver bells. And we've used this beautiful paper that's the foil paper, and I did a different edge cut on this one, so it looks a little different. So again, it's going to go together exactly the same way. So you're going to glue this paper in, so you're going to see this when it's closed. You're going to decide where you want your papers to go, your rectangles. And because I used the stripe here, I think I'm going to have the stripe in the inside, the middle there, so it matches, and have these like this. And then my greeting, which I've already stamped. Mine says celebrate the season. Again, you can put it wherever you like. Maybe you want it to be more over this way, and then your silver bells are going to go here. And again, you can decide where you want your bells to go, but that goes together exactly the same way as this card, just with different paper, and it does look quite different. Now, the other thought is, if you wanted to turn your card and have it opening this way, you could do that. And then it would be totally different. So you'd have your papers like this and like this, and then your greeting would just have to be tipped this way, or you could put it up here, you could have your bells here, you could do that, and then your card would open this way. So whatever you choose to do on either of these is your choice. So those are the 4 cards. So we did that one together, and we did this one together, and then you have the one with the silver paper, silver bells, and you have the one with the deer on it, which I've tucked back into here, which we didn't put together, so it's all in pieces, but there it is. So those are the 4 cards for card kit number 3. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions or have any trouble putting it together, please contact me and have fun. All right.